live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Loungetime. I'm your host, Richard Saile. 3 weeks officially in the books, almost a quarter of the way through the 2023 NFL season. And we got a lot to cover today. We got some Week 3 action and recap. We've got Week 4 picks. We're going to talk about the Lions-Packers on Thursday night. And we'll get to Week 4 picks with the game starting tomorrow. First, we're going to start with the Saints and the Packers. The one of two Packers games we'll be talking about today. And this is the game I actually wanted to open up with because there's a thing I think that's getting overlooked a little too much. Okay? If I sound a little under the weather today, don't be nervous. It was worse yesterday, but I'm much better now. We're going to fight through it. But let's go over this game. Before Derek Carr got hurt, he was doing okay. He was taking care of the ball. He was efficient. And then when he got hurt, Jameis Winston came in. He was all right, but nothing really amazing, right? Chris Olave had 8 catches, 104 yards, led the team in receiving. Running game didn't really help him out much. Jimmy Graham, the journeyman, still in the league. I think he took off, 3 years? He caught a touchdown this game. The offensive line for the Saints, 4 sacks allowed is not good, especially since one of them got Derek Carr out of the game and basically flipped the whole game upside down for them. I thought, honestly, when I see the score 17-0, I was like, Saints are going to blow Green Bay off the door. And then I'm watching another game at the same time, and I see Derek Carr, questionable return, shoulder. I'm like, uh-oh. And then I see, I think, out for the game, and then all of a sudden, the Packers come back and win. I'm like, yeah, he didn't play the second half. The defense gave up 18 points allowed. They had 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits against Jordan Love. 3, actually. I'm wrong. Shaheed had a 76-yard punt return. That ended up being a really big factor, too, to put him up 17. I think it put him up 10-0 early, if I'm not mistaken. But the missed field goal did him in. They did him in. 46 yards, missed, and the Saints go to 2-1. 4-14 on third down. Not good. That's actually really not great. It's under 30. I think that's barely over 30%. Right? It's not great. 7 penalties, 102 yards, 1 for 2 in the red zone. All right, really 2 takeaways. 1, Derek Carr being out changed the whole game. Okay? And yes, the Saints defense is really good. 2, Dennis Allen is more of a defensive coordinator than a head coach. That's why I never really believed that they were all that. Okay? I know they had the easiest schedule in the league, and I get all that. But at the end of the day, Dennis Allen's coaching. He's a great defensive coach, not a head coach. There's certain guys that are just built as coordinators than head coaches, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But Dennis Allen is just one of those guys. It's just a defensive coordinator over a head coach. Which brings me to the Packers side of things. And this is going to actually tie into the other game, which we're going to talk about from Thursday night. I still don't think Jordan Love's that good. I don't. I mean, really, let's face it. The Packers only won because Derek Carr got out of the game and Jameis Winston didn't do that much better. Okay? And the Saints just could not hold a 3-score lead, which I don't know why. 27-44 for 259 yards, a touchdown, an INT, a rushing touchdown, you're probably like, Rich, how do you say he's not good? Well, let's look at his resume right now. He basically was horrible against the Chiefs, albeit his first career start. He was not that good against the Chiefs. He had a couple moments against the Eagles where he looked pretty good, but nothing that showed, oh, yeah, he's transcendent. No. You beat up on the lowly Bears, who we're not covering that game. That game was terrible. I didn't even watch that game. The only thing I cared about the game was how good Travis Kelce was in fantasy. So that's your really only win, in my book. You beat up on the Saints team that lost Derek Carr for half the game. And if Derek Carr wasn't out, you're getting blown off the doors. And you go 0 for 7 in the fourth quarter against Atlanta. So, realistically, he's not that good. Now, and we'll get to the Lions game in a little bit, but he's just not that good. Their running game didn't really help him out much. Romeo Doubs, 5 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. He had another really good game Thursday night, too. Jaden Reed, 3 catches, 63 yards. Rashawn Gary went off. Now, for those of you that probably have not heard of his name before, he is somebody that was like the number 1 recruit coming out of high school. Went to Michigan for one of Jim Harbaugh's recruiting classes. Fell in the middle of the first round to the Packers, which I actually thought at the time was a really good pick. I actually liked him. But at the time, they had Preston Smith and Za'Darius Smith, which he didn't get a lot of playing time, which I was kind of surprised because he was actually really good, and I think he had potential to be really, really good. But I don't know. Injuries have kind of hampered him. I don't know what other than that, but I'm glad he had a really good game. He's actually from Jersey, if you guys didn't know. But, yeah, he had a great game, 3 sacks. But the Packers had a lot of missed opportunities they got away with. Turnover on downs early in the game. Interception. Another turnover on downs. The last one was like fourth and I think 1 from the 2 or 4th and goal from the 2, and they did not take 3. But yet they somehow got 18 points in the 4th because the Saints defense just botched. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. 4th down, they were 1 of 3. 8 of 18 on 3rd downs, not great. It's actually, well, no, it's above 40%. Usually above 40% is good. 11 penalties for 90 yards. That's got to get cleaned up, though. But I don't think the Packers are any bit good right now. I think they're in for a long year. They really are. They're not that good. They got literally 2 wins against Jameis Winston for half the game, which Derek Carr got hurt with the shoulder, and then the Bears, which we all know the Bears right now. They suck. There's no need to rub salt in the wound. Chargers-Vikings. Justin Herbert, 40-47, 405 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to put numbers up this year. Without question, they are a throwing team. But you're throwing 47 times, and you're running the ball in the teens. That's not a sustainable formula to win games in this league. That's a very dangerous line you are crossing if you're the Chargers, because if you are going to just throw the ball, let's see with a team that actually plays really good against the pass, how you'll be able to do. Now, I know Austin Eckler's banged up, and I understand that. But you cannot expect to be one-dimensional and expect to win many games in this league if you don't try to run the ball and at least ease the pressure off Justin Herbert. 47 times and running in the teens is not going to cut it. Keenan Allen had a really good game. He actually had a 49-yard passing touchdown. 18 catches for 215 yards. Mike Williams, I had him in fantasy. 7 catches, 121 yards and touchdown. What sucks is he got hurt and he's out for the season with a torn ACL. That sucks because that was going to be so fun to watch. Those guys have a great year with Kellen Moore calling plays, and they would have both been 1,000-yard receivers. But Mike Williams is going to be out for the season, unfortunately. And it sucks for me because I had him in fantasy too. So I was hoping he'd have a big year. And unfortunately, that sucks that he's out for the season. Joshua Palmer, 4 catches, 66 yards and a touchdown. He stepped in pretty nice. The defense gave up 24 points. 4 sacks. They had 13 quarterback hits on Kirk Cousins. Oh, my God. INT, fumble recovery. Brandon Saile almost sold him the fucking game again. I mean, this is what he does. This is why I veered off of him now. All right? I used to like him the last couple years, and then I just watched one season, and I was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm out. I think 1.5 seasons, really. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, but they blew a 27-0 lead to Jacksonville. We all know how that went. But he almost blew this game again. He's lucky Kirk Cousins threw a pick in the red zone and gift-wrapped him a win because the Vikings offense could not score in the red zone, which we'll get to them in a second. But Brandon Staley, he is just known for giving games up because of his aggressive fourth down conversion that he wants to go for it every time, and it goes really, really bad. But when it goes, it goes. But they had a fumble, missed field goal, turnover on downs, 5 of 11 on third down. Not bad. That's actually really good. 12 penalties, 94 yards. Not impressed. Not impressed if I'm the Chargers. Not impressed. And I am starting to see why I did not pick them to make the playoffs. Because they're too one-dimensional. And Brandon Staley's just going to gift wrap people games because of his dumb coaching decisions. But he's lucky Kirk Cousins just screwed the game up by throwing a pick in the red zone. So, which brings me to the Vikings. They can throw the ball over a lot. They have not a bad running game. I mean, I know Madison struggled against Philly, but their offense can do things. They can't protect, and they can't stop anybody. So that's the two big issues right there. That why they're 0-3. I'd seen a tweet too that said Kirk Cousins is on pace to throw for 6,000 yards. I think 51 touchdowns. Yet they're 0-3 at the same point. That was a tweet I saw that he's projected to do. We all know Kirk Cousins ain't throwing for 6,000 pass yards. And even if he did, people are going to be like, yeah, that's impressive, but how did the team do? Okay? So, 32 of 50, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception. Madison, I said 20 carries, 93 yards. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 149 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, of course he's going to try to feed Jefferson, right? TJ Hawkinson, 8 catches, 78 yards. KJ Osborne, 36-yard receiving touchdown. Oliver had a touchdown. The Vikings, though, the defense is bad. 28 points allowed again. A fumble recovery, a sack. That's something. But missed opportunities, again, did them in. Fumble early in the game. The turnover on downs, I mean, they ran it twice, got stuffed. They threw from the 2-yard line. I mean, I know a lot of teams are doing the Pete Carroll moment, throwing the Super Bowl on the 2-yard line. Or was it the 1? But you get the point where I'm going with this. But that's your best 2-yard plays and you can't get anything? And then the pick sealed it. We all know. 1 for 4 in the red zone, 2 turnovers. 1 for 4 in the red zone. They're not the only team that had a bad red zone day. They're not. But like I said, this team, they could score. They just can't protect Cousins, and they can't stop anybody. I think this is the first game where, the 3 games where they've given up 20 plus, and they've scored 20 plus in the last 2 games, yet they can't stop anybody. And they play in Carolina next week. Should win that game, but this is not a good defense. Their offensive line's very worrisome, but this is a rough start for the Vikings right now. Colts and the Ravens. Bear with me, guys. I'll be fine. Gardner Minshew went into Baltimore and beat the Colts without Anthony Richardson. The Colts basically won with a backup quarterback. And it wasn't just Minshew. It wasn't. I mean, he had a nice game. Okay. 27 to 44, 227 yards, a touchdown. Zach Moss, wow. He is taking every opportunity with Jonathan Taylor being out and requesting a trade. 30 carries, 122 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Pittman, 9 catches, 77 yards. That offensive line for the Colts, what in the hell happened in the last couple of years? I mean, they used to be one of the top offensive lines in football, and then they've just been right down. I don't know what happened to them. 5 sacks allowed. That's not good at all. Defense actually held up. 19 points allowed, 4 sacks. That actually works. 8 of 22 though. That needs to be a little better on third down. It's just barely over 30%, but they got to be better on the winning downs. But Matt Gay actually really helped them win this game. I think Jay Feely was calling the game. He said that's like one of the best kicking performances he's seen from a kicker. 5 for 5 he had. I think he had, 2 or 3 50-plus yard field goals? One that won the game. I think one that tied the game or something like that. But he was 5 for 5. And I got him a lot of it from long distance too, which is insane. Matt Gay outplayed Justin Tucker, which we'll get to in a second. But the Colts going into Baltimore and winning on the road. Big win. They're 2-1 and they're leading the AFC South. And I look like an idiot right now because I said the Jags, it's a walk in the park. Well, the Jags didn't help me out at all right now. Which brings me to the Ravens. What's your excuse now, Lamar Jackson fans? What's your excuse now, bandwagons? Because Lamar Jackson was all right throwing the ball. 22 of 31 for 202 yards. He ran it 14 times, had 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. He ran the ball better than he actually threw it. Okay? Defense, 22 points? Oh, no, that's not good enough. 5 sacks, they got you. Kyle Hamilton had 3 of them. Okay? Your missed opportunities also dug you in. Are you going to point that as the thing? No. Fumble, missed field goal. 61. I mean, we know Justin Tucker makes it look easy, but, bro, he's human. But it's weird we're saying Matt Gay outplayed Justin Tucker in a game. Yeah, that actually happened. And turnover on downs, which I know they were mad that they didn't get a penalty, but John Harbaugh just always goes for it. And he's another one of the analytics, which don't get me started on the whole analytics thing. To me, it's ruining football, but we're not going down this road right now, okay? 6 of 16 on third down. You lost in the little things. 1 for 5 in the red zone, 1 for 5, and 2 turnovers. What are you going to say about that? You couldn't cash in more than once. That's pathetic. And your receivers did. I think the highest receiving yards on the team was 48. Bro, you have receivers now. Oh, but Odell Beckham's not banged up. You have Zay Flowers. You have Mark Andrews. You have Rashad Bateman. Bro, they gave you receivers. I said this in the beginning of the year. They have no excuse not to make the playoffs. They have no excuse for Lamar Jackson as a throwing ability. Well, to throw for barely over 200 yards, and the highest total is 48 yards. Either the Colts secondary is better than I thought, or my concern of Lamar Jackson throwing the ball is legit, and that he's not a great thrower. We know he can run in the open field like amazing. We know that. But as a thrower, he's not going to win you a lot of games that way. He's not. Okay? And I stand by this with the Ravens. That's my only concern with them with this new offense, right? But like I said, he has no excuses. The fact that your highest receiver had 48 yards, that's concerning to me. That's very, very concerning. But you didn't do the little things well. You had a lot of missed opportunities. And your quarterback couldn't cash in more than once in the red zone. That's not good enough. Cowboys and the Cardinals. Oh, boy, I'm going to have fun with this game. Now, for the record, I have family that are Cowboy fans. They're probably not going to like what I'm going to say here. But I had them picked in my Survivor polls. I tweeted this out. Follow at Loungetime Pod. Thank you very much if you guys want the Twitter link. Greatly appreciate it. I tweeted on my X account, and I said the Cowboys ruined a lot of Survivor pools today, meaning Sunday, and one of mine. Now the other one, I am glad that I'm smart picking the Chiefs in that one, because that I should have just doubled down on it, looking back on it, but I usually like to pick 2 different ones, that way like I'm still in it. But the Cowboys, you fucking let me down, bro. Like, bro, I had a and this is the one thing that I wanted so bad. Now the opposite of what I was hoping is going to happen Sunday, which we'll get into in a second. They literally I was hoping they would beat the Cardinals convincingly, and then they're 3-0, going back to Dallas, and we're coming in, can barely score, and they take us lightly. They took the Cardinals lightly, and now watch what's going to happen Sunday. They're going to get ready for us because they're like, oh shit, we're 2-1, Philly's 3-0, San Francisco's 3-0, we got to go to San Francisco next week, and they're going to fucking beat the brakes off us. That's the only thing that fucking I wish happened. They destroyed Arizona, and then they take us lightly Sunday. That's not going to happen now. Not only did they botch my survivor pool, they botched my whole thinking of, oh, I think they're going to take us lightly because we can't move the ball. Nope, they took it to the wrong team. The Cardinals. And this is why, oh my God. Now, to be fair, Trayvon Diggs was out. It's a big loss. I said it last weekend. But that gives you no excuse, though. You have Stephon Gilmore, who's an established veteran, too. Okay? But Dak Prescott, listen, man. And I asked my cousins when we had him on first week of the show this season, I asked my Uncle Al. Dak Prescott is going to be the one thing that your season comes down to. Can he handle the high-pressure situations? And this game, it wasn't all him, but yeah, that's going to be your problem. Against Philly, against San Francisco. Look at Detroit coming along now. Detroit's up there among the top 4 teams right now in the NFC. So we got to point this out. Dak Prescott has not gotten past the divisional round. I think he's made the divisional round, 3 times in his career? And he's 0-3, right? So he's got to be able to, break through. And if he's going to break through, he's got to stop crumbling in high-pressure situations. And that's his problem, right? 25 of 40, 249 yards, a touchdown. Oh, my God, the interception, bro. I mean, I was heading on my way back I was at home watching the games this weekend. I actually, I was on my way up somewhere to watch the Steeler-Raider game. And he throws a fucking pick in triple coverage in the red zone. And I'm like, this is what he does. He's a turnover machine waiting to happen. But no way in my wildest dreams they would have beat Arizona. And I don't know what was going through his mind. Like, why are you forcing a ball in triple coverage in the red zone? Why? I don't know why. Tony Pollard, 23 carries, 122 yards. I mean, your running game was eating. Okay? Dowdle had a touchdown. Defense gave up 28 points. I don't expect that to happen a lot of times this season. I don't. 2 sacks. Micah Parsons had one of them. They had a turnover on downs. McCarthy. Oh, my God. Okay. You're down 8, right? Kick the field goal. You're down 5. Your defense can get a stop on Joshua Dobbs. If you're down 5, worst comes to worst, you go back in the red zone, you kick another field goal, you're down 2. Why the fuck are you going for it on 4th down when you clearly need every points on drives you can get right now? You're down 8. You're not going to get it all back on one play. I don't get it. I don't get it. A lot of these fourth down calls in the red zone. This is one of many. I'm gonna get to another one in a little bit. Actually, it's next game. Actually, we're gonna go over that. Oh my God, that call was worse. This one was bad, but not as bad as next game we're going over. Because I'm gonna be ripping somebody a new one next game. But that was bad. 1 for 5 in the red zone. Again, this is now 2 weeks in a row. The Cowboys offense has struggled with the red zone. Little cracks that are becoming increasingly alarming in terms of how bad they look right now. Okay? And I think this offense it's going to come down to, can they be efficient enough? Can they control the game enough to win and go far? Because if you can't score in the red zone, that's a step 1 problem that's going to be coming back to haunt you. Okay? 2 turnovers. Again, the little things you didn't do right. Right? McCarthy with the bad 4th down calls. And like I said, 1 for 5. the turnover. They had 13 penalties, for 107 yards. That too. Do you remember the playoff game against the Niners 2 years ago? When you committed all those penalties? Man. They cost me Survivor. They fucking, of course, they take the Cardinals lightly, not us. Now they're going to be... the one bad thing they did to me Sunday. The one bad thing. I was hoping they'd go 3-0 and then... Nope. Forget that. That's out the window. Which brings me to Joshua Dobbs. 17 of 21 for 189 yards and a touchdown. Josh Dobbs picked you guys apart. Ouch. James Conner ran the ball well. 14 for 98 yards and a touchdown. Rondale Moore even had a rushing touchdown. He's a wide receiver. 3 carries, 54 yards and a touchdown. Rondale Moore. Hollywood Brown, 5 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. Defense, they actually played a really good game, the Cardinals. 16 points allowed, 2 sacks, an interception. Okay, they had 8 penalties for 69 yards, but this is the only thing I'll say this is the only thing I'll say. Every team has that one loss where you go, what the fuck happened there? How did we lose to this team? This might be for the Cowboys. This might be the one loss they look back and go, what the hell happened here? And it happens. And then you always have that one game where you go, how did we win that game? Everybody has a one game you go, how did we lose to them? And how did we win against them? This is one of those games, I feel like, for both sides. On both ends. Steelers and the Raiders. Kenny Pickett, 16 to 28, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Should have had a pick 6, if I'm being honest. He should have had a pick 6. Marcus Peters, he baited him into the throw, and if only he caught the ball and kept his feet in bounds, he would have pick 6'd him the other way. He's a sophomore quarterback. He'll learn, but that's why he's a gambler, Marcus Peters. He could either jump it and pick it to the house, or he bites and he gives up a long touchdown. In that, Kenny Pickett's lucky he didn't throw a pick 6. That would have been a really, really bad thing had he caught it and stayed in bounds and ran it back. Got lucky on that throw. I got to be honest there. That was one thing that caught my eye. Najee, 19 carries, 65 yards. I don't know why Jalen Warren's getting limited touches. I don't know why. I have him on my bench in fantasy, but Najee Harris, I guess, is their main bell cow. They're going to run things through. George Pickens, 4 catches, 75 yards. Freiermuth had a touchdown. Calvin Austin had a deep touchdown, 72-yard touchdown. That was actually a nice call from Matt Canada. I can't even lie. I know he's been getting a lot of hate by Steeler fans. That was actually a nice call. Calvin Austin, speedster, deep play action over the top. That was a good call. Defense, though, they keep reinforcing my point. They're a top 10 defense, 4 sacks. They had 2 of them by T.J. Watt, who's going to be in the Defensive Player of the Year running with Parsons. Myles Garrett had a really strong week. Nick Bosa's going to be up there. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be coming up there in terms of the ranks. Watch, he's going to have another case up there. It's going to be wide open early in the season. This is going to be wide open. 3 interceptions they had. 2 of them by Levi Wallace. I'm sorry. This Steelers defense is legit. They're going to be the big reason that they can make it to the playoffs. If that defense can play at that high of a level with takeaways, with forcing turnovers, getting to the quarterback, they're going to go a long way. They're going to go a long way and possibly could make a deep playoff run. Possibly. The Bengals look shaky. The Ravens' offense has questions. Okay, so their own division, they could be really good, but their offense has questions too. Pittsburgh. I have to be fair. But when we look at the AFC as a whole, Buffalo and Miami are definitely really good, right? The AFC South, I mean, the Colts, are we expecting them to win the division right now? Not at the moment, but you never know how they'll be. The Chiefs, I think they're taking a step back than what they've used to be because those receivers can't quite separate like they used to. Don't give me the Bears game. That's an aberration. And, again, they could make a deep playoff run, Pittsburgh. I really believe they could make a deep playoff run. Which brings me to the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo, I said he was an upgrade over Derek Carr because of the experience that he's had in the playoffs. Not from a talent standpoint. That's a whole different conversation. 28 of 44, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Jimmy G has moments where he manages the game well, and then he makes a couple of throws where you go, what the hell is he doing? And that's what Jimmy Garoppolo is. But he's a solid quarterback for the most part, but he has a couple of throws where you go, Jimmy, what are you doing? And he kind of has that I don't know. He kind of just shrugs it off, which, I mean, could be good and bad how you look at it. Jacobs, 17 carries, 62 yards. Devontae Adams, 13 catches, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only thing the Steelers defense did not do well was double cover Devontae Adams well. They let Devontae Adams go crazy, and they're lucky the defense is that top-notch. But that's the only issue I had with Mike Tomlin this game. Double Devontae Adams and let somebody else beat you. But they're lucky it worked this week. Jacoby Myers, the guy, or I should be saying, he who must not be named, 7 catches, 85 yards. He who must not be named actually had a decent game. Defense had 1 sack, 23 points allowed. Where do I begin? Where do I begin with this defense? Because again and again and again, I'm trying not to yell because my throat's not great right now and I sound congested, so I don't want to yell right now. But what have I been saying all along about the Las Vegas Raiders? I had my uncle right here. What did I tell him? Who's going to cover those guys? Buffalo, they couldn't cover. Pittsburgh, they couldn't cover. Who's going to cover those receivers? They can't get takeaways. They got 1 sack, and there's only one real dude on that team that people fear right now, and that's Max Crosby on that defense, who's really good, by the way. Tyree Wilson's a good draft pick. I like him, but he's young. He's got to learn. But what have I said? They have a good front four, but their back end, they have nobody that you can trust in that back end to hold things up. They don't. And that's been the problem I've had with them the last going on 3 seasons. Who's going to stop receivers from going off against that secondary? They got nobody except Marcus Peters, who's not really what he once was. Okay? This defense is not good. They are the reason I will not pick them anymore to go to the playoffs alone. Okay? And, get this. Okay. Get this, America. Here we go. The interceptions, the turnover on downs, and, okay, I didn't even add this one. How about the fucking decision by Josh McDaniels to kick a field goal when you're down 8 with 2.5 minutes to go in the game? I had him right here. I told him Josh McDaniels is more of a coordinator than a head coach. Why the fuck would you kick a field goal when you need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion? I don't know what's worse, the decision itself or the explanation after that. And I heard his explanation. I was like, what? What are you... Bro. You get your points there. You get your points there. You need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. If you kick the field goal, you're still going to have to do the same thing because the best case would be to go up 3 if you got the ball back and scored. You still needed to do it anyway. But the fact that you kick a field goal, your defense ain't the freaking Legion of Boom from 10 years ago. Your defense ain't the 2000 Ravens where you know you're going to get a stop. What? Again, I said it again. This is why I don't take them to make the playoffs. They do dumb things. They do dumb things where you go, what? This is who they are. This is who they are. And people here probably are Raider fans watching, and they're like, I'm hating on them. No. I'm telling you how it is. This is your team. You commit dumb penalties. You turn the ball over at bad times. You can't beat good teams. And you don't improve the things you need to improve. And that secondary's been bad for fucking probably 3+ years now. You still barely touch it. And Josh McDaniels is, listen, John Gruden, he was all right for them, yes. And they've had a bunch of bad coaches for the last probably 15 years. The only one that was good was Jack Del Rio, who took them to the playoffs one year. But this is why I don't take them serious. This is the definition of a team that's knocking on the door and knocking on the door. That definition should be a team that's making the NFC Championship 3 of the last 5 years and can't get that wall down and went to a Super Bowl and almost won. And that's another team that's the definition of knocking on the door. Not the Raiders. Not with what they've done the last couple of years. No, the last 15 years plus. No. Really, the last 20 years. That's not the definition. No. So, hey, I know you keep telling me, oh, weird things happen. No. The AFC is too stacked, and I know there's teams right now that are bad. No, dude. No. 4 of 13 on third down, 7 penalties, 3 turnovers, 1 for 2 in the red zone. This is the team you'd think that can make the playoffs. Yeah, he's getting it from me today because this is a joke. I know he has that one fucking team where he was right last year. This year, it's not happening. It's not happening this year. I am confident. I told him right to his face here. No, they're not making the playoffs. Jimmy G is good, but that division's going to be better. Although I have questions about the Chargers and Broncos, and the Chiefs are not the same. I understand that. But the other divisions in the AFC, they've got teams that are playoff caliber teams. Some are off to slow starts that will heat up later. But, nope, this team, they could score, but they have no defense in the back end. And if you can't stop passing attacks, you're not going very far. Nope. And if you got Josh McDaniels making decisions like that, 4th and goal, and you kick a field goal down 8, you definitely won't go far. No. Rams and the Bengals. Fucking Raiders, they make me do this. Matthew Stafford, he was all right. I mean, this was a game we started to see maybe the Detroit Matt Stafford again. 18 of 33, 269 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Tutu Atwell actually had a 22-yard run, I think. And he had a touchdown on 4 catches of 50 yards. That offensive line, though, oh boy, that needs work. 6 sacks allowed. 6. Oh my God. The defense held them to 19. I mean, most cases you win the game if you have any offense, which the Rams have some nice young playmakers, but 20, I mean, if Cooper Kupp was there, they could get 20 for sure. But without Cooper Kupp, that's a tall task. 2 sacks, an interception, 6 quarterback hits. The Rams, listen, I will give them their due. They've been playing very competitive these first 3 weeks, especially against good teams. But they've got a lot of holes that are glaringly there. That offensive line's bad. Their secondary is okay, but they've got some gaping holes that are very noticeable. But the fact that Sean McVay has them competitive for 3 weeks is very, very impressive. But Matt Stafford is not the same Matt Stafford from 2 years ago. It's not. He's turned right back into the Detroit Stafford. INTs, they get one off a 40-yard bomb they get on the play before, and then they throw it right to him where he makes a great play on the linebacker. But here's the real reasons. 1 of 11 on third down. That is, oh my God, that's horrible. That's horrible. 1 of 11 will not cut it. 1 for 4 in the red zone. Definitely won't cut it. 2 turnovers. That is not a good way to try to win games. The little things you can't do right, you're not going to be that good. It's that simple, dude. It's not that. It's simple. Which brings me to the Bengals. Joe Burrow actually played. I was surprised. I heard up until last weekend when I did my show, I heard he wasn't looking like he was going to play. But he ended up playing. Credit to him. And they got the win. 26 of 49, 259 yards, an INT. Played okay, but again, he held the fort down. Joe Mixon, 19 for 65 yards. Jamar Chase, 12 catches, 141 yards. Monster day. But who on the Rams is going to cover him? They showed. Nobody. Defense, 16 points allowed, 6 sacks. Logan Wilson, one of the underrated linebackers in football right now. Please remember his name. 2 interceptions. He's had a nice couple good 3 years. This dude's a young rising star in the league. He's really coming along in terms of a player. He's a really, really good player. I mean, this is one of the most underrated linebackers in football. Why he's not getting more recognition, I don't know why. But he's getting better and better, I feel like, every year. Missed field goal early in the game. They had the interception, but they managed to fight through it. 7 penalties, 5 of 17 on third down. They look shaky, but it's better to have these early in the year than in the later half of the year. But if anybody can get through it, they can definitely do it, considering what they did last year and the year before. So if anybody can overcome these issues, it's the Bengals, and I think they'll be fine. All right, that was Week 3 action. Now let's talk about the Thursday night game between the Lions and the Packers. Jared Goff, outside of the first interception of the game, he played pretty well. Managed the game well, 19-28, 210 yards, touchdown and a pick. Montgomery, 32 carries, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. St. Brown had a touchdown. The defense, without 2 key guys in the secondary, too. 20 points they held up, 5 sacks they got, 11 quarterback hits. Jacobs had 2 interceptions. The Detroit Lions, if they play like this, they can win not only a playoff game, they can maybe go to the divisional round, maybe the conference championship game if they get a favorable draw. And you're probably thinking, Rich, wait a minute. No, they can. This team, listen, if they keep up the pace, keyword if, the Lions can score. They can run the ball. They have a good offensive line. They got really good receivers. Sam Laporte is coming along for TJ Hawkinson. That's a really good pick by Brad Holmes and company. And that defense, if they can find somebody to help Aiden Hutchinson on the pass rush, and that secondary can get better and better, they'll be a team to reckon with in the NFC. I mean, again, I know it's Philly, it's Dallas, and San Francisco. The Lions are one defensive piece away from being in that conversation with those 3 teams. They're one defensive piece away. But Jared Goff, people forget, he went to a Super Bowl. He won some playoff games. So he definitely is a quarterback that can get them pretty far in the playoffs. It's just because they're so young and inexperienced, that's what the whole thing's going to come down to. But they got a nice group in Detroit, and the sky's the limit for them, man. I mean, Campbell's got them playing really well. I think the Lions could maybe make the NFC Championship if they can get a favorable path by the end of the year, and if they can keep playing like they're playing right now, if, they'll be really good. Keyword if, okay? A lot can happen between now and January. We know this, all right? But it's a very, very encouraging sign. And they won the last 4 games against the Packers, and 2 in a row at Lambeau? Wow. I mean, would you look at that? And which brings me right into, 5 of 17 on third. 7 of 17 on third down. Not bad. 8 penalties can get cleaned up. Which brings me to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, to me, is not very good. He's just not that guy. I'm sorry. 23 of 36, 246 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. He had a rushing touchdown. He's just not that guy right now where the future's bright. I mean, again, they took a lot of heat when they drafted him, 3 years ago? He's had 3 years to learn behind Rodgers. I mean, he looked awful in that first half. Now, I know he moved the ball better in the second half in garbage time. I know. But he just doesn't look the part where he looks like somebody you can depend on. I feel like they're trying to show they got something with him, but to me he just isn't made of starting quarterback material. He's got athleticism, sure. He's got a decent arm. He's all right accuracy wise, but he holds the ball, I think, too long. I think he keeps his eyes too much downfield. I mean, now I don't know if that's a good thing if he keeps his eyes too much downfield, but I feel like he's staring him down too much. He just doesn't look the part. And I was talking to one of my buddies, texting him during the game, and he got mad that his brother found out that I said Jordan Love is terrible, and he's like, well, what has Mac Jones done? I'm like, well, Mac Jones is taking us to the playoffs. And my response was, what has Jordan Love done through, 6 games? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. And his resume is they beat the Saints without Carr, which changed the whole game, second half, really in the fourth quarter. And they beat the Bears. Other than that, what has he done? In Atlanta, he crumbled 0-7 in the fourth quarter. That's not good. He's not that guy, Packers fans, I'm telling you. You know? Now, organization's going to take some heat. Gutekunst is going to take some heat. Matt LaFleur getting all, sassy with the reporter. Bro, you are a puppet. Okay? You are a puppet that Aaron Rodgers literally was like, bro, I'm calling the shots on offense. You try to think you were all big and whatever, saying, oh, we're not going to do audibles and shit like that. Bro, you are a puppet at the end of the day. And it's going to show this year. Okay? You are just an average coach, maybe below average at best. Okay? You are a puppet, Matt LaFleur. Okay? You are. I don't take you serious for a reason. Okay? That's the end of the day. Again, Dobbs, 9 catches, 95 yards. Watson had a receiving touchdown. Offensive line gave up 5 sacks. Now, Bakhtiari's out, but that offensive line usually isn't that bad, but 5 sacks is not a great sign. Defense, 2 sacks, 34 points they gave up. Interception they got early in the game, but really after the takeaway, they got carved up, bro. They got carved up. 3 of 11 on third down, 2 turnovers, 2 for 4 in the red zone. They're 2-2, but they will not be this good down the stretch. I'm telling you right now. They will not be this good down the stretch. All right? Well, Packers fans, you forced Aaron Rodgers out, and now he's out, and you're stuck with Jordan Love. And now you got the decision. Are we going to pay him a big contract the next 5 years? Or are you actually going to go get a quarterback? That's your decision that you're going to have to find out at the end of this season. All right. So here's the Week 4 picks. I decided that we're going to move the individual awards to about mid-season. I like to do it for around mid-season because I like to see who I would have picked preseason and how they're projected at that point. So we're going to move the awards actually to mid-season. I did some thinking. We'll do that. So right now we're going to do Week 4 picks. We're going to go lightning fast. Jaguars and Falcons. Jacksonville, this is a must-win game for you early. I know people say they don't believe in must-wins in September. This, you cannot go to 1-3. You cannot go to 1-3 because guess who you play right after? You play Buffalo. And if you don't beat Atlanta, my pick of them going to be walking a park in the South is going to be worse and worse. So I'm going to stick with the Jaguars. I have faith in Trevor Lawrence. I think Doug Peterson will have his guys ready. I say Jacksonville wins 26-23 in London over Atlanta. And weird stuff always happens in London, but I think the Jags will fight through it. Plus, everybody loves the Jags in London for some reason because they're always there. Bills in Miami. Take the over if I was a betting man. Take the over. This is going to be high scoring. Josh Allen and Tua are going to put on a show. I will be watching this game. I got Buffalo winning 38-31. I think Tua is going to get his first real test against a good team because this Buffalo Bills team, they could score with them. And yeah, Tua played well against them last year in Buffalo in the snow. But again, it's going to come down to, can you make the plays when the game is tight and the balance? And can he be that guy? This is his first real test for me this season. But I'm going to go with who I trust more. I trust Josh Allen over Tua. So give me Buffalo 38, Miami 31. Broncos-Bears. This is the game Denver finally wins. Chicago is a mess. They had the defensive coordinator thing where he had got involved in some shit off the field, health reasons too. Justin Fields calling out coaching staff, Chase Claypool, where if he doesn't play with effort, he's going to either get cut or dealt, whatever. The Bears are just a mess. I mean, odds are probably going to be Matt Eberflus gets fired and Ryan Poles is gone. And I don't know what Justin Fields is going to be. I'm going with Broncos 31-9 over Chicago. This is the best place for Sean Payton and Russell Wilson to get things right. Broncos 31, Bears 9. Ravens, Browns. I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like the Ravens should be favored here. I know Cleveland's defense is much better under Jim Schwartz. I understand that. But Deshaun Watson, he looked good last week, yes. But are we convinced he's going to do it 2 weeks in a row? I don't know about that. And the Ravens' defense is actually pretty good. I got the Ravens actually here. I think the Ravens can find a way to keep this close. I wouldn't be shocked if the Browns win, but I just say to myself, I think the wrong team's favored here. I'm going to go with the Ravens 23-16 over the Browns. I trust Lamar than I do over Deshaun Watson. Yes, I do. And I just think that the Ravens will get things right and go to 3-1. I just see that as the likely situation there. Bengals, Titans. The last 2 times these teams met, it's low scoring, it's physical. These games have been very competitive. I like the Bengals to win. I think that they can win ugly. We've seen them do it before. I think that they are ready. I have very serious questions about the Titans' offensive line. I have very serious questions about their receiving core. And their defense is not bad, but I think Joe Burrow makes enough plays to win this ball game. Give me the Bengals 20-17 over the Titans. Rams, Colts. Pick 'em game here. Oof. I actually struggled with this game to pick because I can see either team winning here. It would be a big statement for the Colts to go 3-1. Anthony Richardson's coming back. But I kind of like the Rams in this situation. I know Cooper Kupp's not out, but Colts are coming off an emotional win on the road. Sean McVay's team's been competitive, and I think that the Colts, I don't know. I don't trust that defense quite as much. And I know the Rams have good young receivers that have been playing really well to start. I know the running game does worry me between Kyron Williams and whoever they're going to put. But I think the Rams eventually find a way to win. And I think the defense could give Anthony Richardson some problems. So give me the Rams 28, the Colts 24 over on Sunday. Give me the Rams 28, Colts 24. I like them in this matchup. Saints, Tampa. Derek Carr is expected to play, for the record. I just got word of that yesterday. I told you guys when Baker Mayfield plays a good team, he sucks. And this is another good defense he's going to be playing. And I think the Saints this time, it is their time to take Tampa down. Baker Mayfield's going to give them 1 or 2 takeaways, and the Saints are going to cash in on 1 or 2 of them. And that's the difference in the ballgame. So give me the Saints 20, the Bucks 10. Eagles, Commanders. Now remember, Washington beat the Eagles in Philly last year, undefeated record at the time. And it was Taylor Heineke, quarterback this time, and Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy. Not this time. And I think Washington, if they can keep it close, that's a moral victory. And I don't believe in moral victories. I know. But I think the Eagles win by at least 10. Because I think the Eagles, they can get after Sam Howell. And I think that, I know this is a division rivalry, but Sam Howell's in for a long afternoon. Give me the Eagles 30-20 over the Commanders. I have a little concerns with that defense still. And I think the Eagles are going to have their way. 30-20, Eagles over the Commanders. Vikings, Panthers. If the Vikings lose to the Panthers, you might as well start taking trade calls on Justin Jefferson, and you might as well just start building for the future. Because this is literally a game you should win. The Panthers' offensive line can't block anybody. Bryce Young's coming back, yes, and I know I picked the Panthers to win the South. It's looking really bad right now, I know. But the Vikings, this is a game for them to win. They need to win this game. Because guess who you play after? Kansas City. Yes, your division looks weak outside of the Lions, but if you're going to put any fight in terms of a playoff berth, you have to win this game. So I think the Vikings win against Carolina. I got them 28-20 over the Panthers. Steelers and the Texans. C.J. Stroud's been playing good lately, but when he played the Ravens, a very good defense, how did he do exactly? Not that great. I think he's in for a long afternoon. Highsmith, T.J. Watt, that secondary's playing better. I know Tank Dell's their number 1 receiver, and he's playing pretty good for the Texans. I don't think it's enough, though. I got the Steelers 28-17 over the Texans. Chargers-Raiders. Everything I said about the Raiders, I stand by. The Chargers, I know, are going to throw the ball all over the lot. And I think at the end of the day, the Raiders cannot cover Keenan Allen, Joshua Palmer, Donald Parham, and Herbert's going to have a field day. Austin Eckler's out, but I still think they find a way to score a lot of points. Give me the Chargers 35, the Raiders 23. I just trust the Chargers over the Raiders. I just do. Niners, Cardinals. I'm not going to say who I took for Survivor this week. Let's just say it has something to do with this game. Actually, I told you. Whatever. I hope I win this week. I feel confident in this because I don't think it's going to happen 2 weeks in a row. I know they've played competitive, but I think the 49ers know. All right, they beat Dallas. But this is the best defense in the league. This is an offense that's clicking on all cylinders. I know there's a winning streak that, is notable. I'm not going to mention how many games, okay? But I think the 49ers are the best team in the league. They're my Super Bowl pick for a reason. I think they established once again that reason. Give me the Niners 38-12 over the Cardinals. Cowboys-Patriots. I think we have a shot. I do. I think if Bill Belichick is that guy that I know that he can be, he's looking at it like this. If Dak Prescott turns the ball over, we need to cash in on those turnovers. And our offense needs to get at least 20 to 23. Now, do I think that's going to be likely? No. But it's a winnable game. Now, Zeke's coming back to Dallas. I think that means nothing because Zeke's the second running back behind Ramondre Stevenson. But at the end of the day, bro, I know what my team is. Okay? I know what we are. We can beat the really good teams. We try to put up a fight, and we just can't finish the fight. So I'm waving the white flag. I do think we have a chance. But give me Dallas 23, New England 17. I just don't trust the offense to get at least 20 plus against Dallas. And I don't think that the ability to keep them off the field with the running game is going to be able to hold up. I don't think it's going to work this week. Give me Dallas 23, New England 17. Chiefs, Jets. Everybody's talking about one of two things in this game. Zach Wilson being that terrible, and the Jets should put Tim Boyle in, or Taylor Swift's going to be at the game, and that's why the tickets are going up. Me personally, I don't give a shit about any of those two things. I don't. I think the Chiefs win. I was going to say they put 30 up, maybe 40, but I think the Jets defense might keep them under that average because I think the Jets secondary can give them a little fits. I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs put up 30 plus, but I'm going to say 24-6 because I think the Chiefs receivers, I think we're seeing right now, Matt Nagy sucks as a play caller. Don't let that Bears game fool you, okay? Matt Nagy sucks as a play caller, and my prediction stands. Andy Reid's going to be calling the plays by midseason. Watch. Chiefs 24, Jets 6. Giants, Seahawks. I had a conversation with some friends last night watching the show. They're Giant fans. The Giants need to win Monday night. They absolutely need to win. Because if they fall to 1-3, the season's over. Straight up. The season's over if you fall to 1-3. This is a game you have to win. Because guess who you have after? In Miami and in Buffalo. You really think you're going to beat one of them? No. Okay? But here's the thing. You have 2 weeks rest. Saquon should play. I don't know if he is. Should play. Darren Waller's nicked up with a hamstring. I hope he's able to go. 2 weeks almost off. I mean, they have now the game in the Giants. Last time they lost in Seattle. And I think the defense is better than people will give them credit for. They played the Niners tough outside of a couple big plays in the fourth that sealed the game. But something tells me Geno Smith's going to turn into the average quarterback that we all kind of knew he would be. I know Seattle's been scoring a lot the last 2 weeks, but I'm going to say that the Giants somehow win a low-scoring game, and I got the Giants winning 20-16 over the Seahawks on Monday night. I don't love this pick, but I feel like this is a game the Giants have to win. If you go to 1-3, you might as well just say the season's over. All right, those are the Week 4 picks. I'm actually going to say the next Thursday night game pick I have actually It's Commanders-Bears. I think the Commanders are going to beat the Bears again. I think the Bears are an absolute train wreck. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch this game. I actually might have to because my Patriots play Washington down the road, and I learned my lesson last year. Always watch a team you are going to play at some point in the season, no matter how good or bad you think they are. Okay? So I'm going to go with the Commanders to win. I don't have a score prediction right now. I might give it Thursday when I tweet who I have winning and the score. Sometimes I just tweet and say who wins. All right, guys, that's the episode for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button so that you guys can get all the notifications you need to follow us up during the NFL season. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next week on the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a good weekend, everybody.